Hi, Matt with etrailer. Today we're going to be talking about our Yakima Roof Rack system on our 2021 Jeep Compass. Now this is going to be a great option for you if you're looking for something that's going to be able to get you a lot more storage on your vehicle, whether you have a lot of people in the back or you just fill it up. This is going to give you a lot of opportunities to either put gear, that being kayaks, or anything else like that. So today our roof rack system is going to be comprised of 3 parts, and that's going to be our crossbars, our towers, and our fit kit. Let's take a closer look at our crossbars. We're going to have these 50-inch Jetstream crossbars, and they're going to have this thicker side to it and thinner side, and that's going to be this arrow shape, helping reduce wind noise. We're also going to have this built-in weather strip, and that's going to be used for your T-channel to put any T-slot accessories. What I really like about that is a lot of weather strips, you have to cut down the size to accommodate those different accessories. But with this being built in, you don't have to cut anything down. Typically, you will get another weather strip on here, but for demonstration purposes, we've removed ours just to make things a little bit easier. And that's going to be where you put your tower on, and this is going to be our sightline towers. They're going to be pretty straightforward and really easy to take off. All you have to do is pull on the back to remove that end cap, and when it slides, it's going to give you the ability to take this right off. Just like that, and plugging right into that fit kit. And that fit kit's going to be bolted right onto our flush rails, making them very secure. We're going to have a weight capacity of 165 pounds, but keep in mind to check what your roof can handle so you don't overload it. And so that's going to give us an idea of how much we can put on here, but we can also put any T-track accessories on here, like I said earlier, or if you don't have any items like that, you can put on clamp-on accessories. If you don't have some already, you can check our website, see what we do have, and let's get some measurements so we know how much room we have to spare. Now that measurement between our roof and our crossbars is going to be about 4.5 inches, so that's going to give you plenty of room to put those clamp-on accessories. Now the space that it adds to the top of your system is going to be just 5 inches. So what I'd recommend doing is taking the total height of your car plus your roof rack, and if you get any accessories on top of that, adding that too, so you know what areas you can go under. And with our 50-inch crossbars, we are going to have a little bit of overhang. It's not going to be enough to hit your head on, but it's going to give you plenty of room to put on any accessories over here too. So if you have anything that you want closer to you that's going to be easier to reach, it's going to be great for that. Overall, this is going to be a great set of crossbars if you plan on taking them off a lot. They're really easy to take off. When you open up both sides, you just lift up and take them off. And just make sure you put your end caps back on. But if you don't plan on taking them off a lot, then the process can be a little bit of a headache trying to get them installed, since, especially with the back crossbar, just applying all that pressure and trying to get the bolts lined up and threaded through there correctly can be a little bit hard, especially if you're trying to make sure everything's fitting on there right and you're not going to damage anything. But if you do plan on taking it on and off a lot and you really like how that is, then just stay tuned and we'll show you how to put it on. Now to kick off the installation, I just like to lay everything out, have my crossbars, and then we're going to have our fit kit and the pieces that go with it, and the hardware. And on the other side, we're going to have our towers. And then in the center, you're going to have your included Allen key, your other Allen key with a built-in torque device, and I recommend grabbing a tape measure. And let's go to our next step, and that's going to be getting our fit kit ready. Now with your fit kit, all you're going to do is line up this rubber piece with these holes. I'm not a big fan of these rubber pieces because if you're not careful, these ones on the end can bend when you're putting them in there because they are hollow. So just keep that in mind when you are putting it in. Just lining everything up until everything fits into place. Once you have it started, then you can start applying pressure to both ends. Just pushing it in there so it has a little bit more stability. And then you can just apply pressure. Just be mindful you don't want to poke a hole through it. Once you get it started, you can push it down the rest of the way. just like that. Now we're going to grab our fit kit and put it on our flush rails. What I like to do is make sure this longer hole is facing towards the rear of our vehicle, and these two smaller holes are facing to the front. I like to use this front one. I'm just going to put my bolt through here and trying to line it up. Now I will say this process is a little bit time consuming and can be a little bit of a pain, so you might just have to bear with it for a bit until you can get these all the way on. Once you have this first bolt started, then you can go on to the next one. I really don't find too much of an issue with these front fit kits, but when we get to the rear ones, that can be a little bit more of a problem. And the last step to your fit kit is just tightening down this bolt at the very top. Just make sure you have a secure fit. And when that's nice and tight, you can repeat the same process on the other side. Now for our rear crossbars, if you notice our fit kit, we actually used a different hole. We used this one right here instead of that lower one, and that's just going to be due to this tie down point next to our fit kit. We couldn't move it over anymore, so we had to use this other hole. And the reason we chose this point right here is because this is going to be able to accommodate most of your accessories. We did have a couple issues with putting these on. We had to put a lot of pressure on top of them just to line up those holes. And when you are putting these on, be careful not to strip these bolts. Now you'll notice we have these two other holes where you can put your fit kit on, and those are going to be more designed for platform racks. But you can put your crossbars here if you're expecting to put any larger accessories up here, maybe like a kayak or a cargo basket with an extension on it. But if you do have those larger items on here, be mindful of clearance issues. You might make contact with your antenna, or you might have some hatch access issues. Now we can move on to the easier part of the installation, and that's just getting your crossbars ready and your towers. I'm going to flip our crossbar, and I'm just going to remove these end caps just by pulling them off. And then I'm going to put the towers on, lining up this metal block with this channel. I like to open up the back tube before I get it on there, and slide it on just like this. And then you can repeat that same process on the other side. Now our next step is we want to make sure that the plate in here isn't blocking this bolt. So if you can't access that, you're going to have to come around to the back side and see this other bolt and just loosen that up enough till you have access to that bolt inside. And when you do, you can just tighten this down just slightly. We want it to be tight enough where it's going to stay in one spot pretty well, but enough where you can adjust it. Just like this. Now we can repeat that same process on the other side. Now when we put it up there, we want to make sure this is in the right orientation. We actually want this fatter side facing the front of our car. And once you have that ready, then we can place our towers up here. Just lining it up with those fit kits. And this might take some adjustments. But once you have it up there, we can make our final adjustments. And now I'd just like to measure from my tower to the end of the crossbar. And then do the same thing on the other side. And that's just to make sure both sides are even. If you need to make some adjustments, just take these end caps off or lower them down so you can access it to make those adjustments. And once you've got everything adjusted, carefully flip these towers over. And when they're flipped over, we can tighten them down into place. We're tightening them down until they click, just like that. We can repeat that same process on the other side. And the last step is just tightening this bolt here. You might have to adjust this if you have any curvature to your roof. You can reference your instructions for that. But we're just going to tighten this down until we hear this click. You might have to apply pressure to the top of your crossbar. But once you hear a click, you can close this end cap now. And then do the same thing on the other side. And when you have everything installed, just kind of give it a good shake test. Make sure nothing's moving or going to come off. and when it looks good, then you can take it for a ride. I'd also recommend having these end caps, just placing them somewhere in your car or home where you won't lose them. But after that, that just concludes our install and a look at some of the features of the Yakima Roof Rack system on our 2021 Jeep Compass.